Hi, Nevaeh here. I have a channeled message, and what I hear is worry less about which timeline you're on. So, here is a sacred space where intuition, truth, and transformation come together with me. I often use the words and terms divine masculine and divine feminine, and they're not gender specific, but we have a balance of those within each of us. And the goal is to try to balance them and not let one take over in everything that you do and the way you perceive and move forward than the other. Of course, that balanced piece. And only take what resonates with you and use your intuition to discern. So let's see. Let's shuffle the deck. Yeah, so worry less about which timeline you're on. Another way to say that is worry less about where you think other people think you're supposed to be in your life by now, and what you've accomplished so far, let's say. Right, I'm gonna do 4. Okay, so I see the 6 of Swords, the Ace of Wands, the Emperor, and the High Priestess. Okay. I get embrace the process and release possible outcomes. Consistency and flow is paramount. So the 6 of Swords, I get the word resistance. And it kind of looks like there's some ducking down and perhaps not wanting to move away from this. So I get that God's calling you to create. And you have kind of had some resistance to your creative spark lately. And some of the influences around that is lack of trust and fear of the unknown. And it's kind of a barrier energetically speaking, for you to create. So the call here is to allow your creativity to flow. Take control of your breath, even in a breathing exercise, and the quality of your breath. Breathing in for 7 seconds, holding for 7 seconds, and breathing out for 7 seconds. And try to maybe do that before you decide to do something creative. And let your heart and your intuition guide you in your creation. I kind of see a door. I see a door that's like this resistance. I guess I see a door that's almost closed, but it's left open a crack, and there's just kind of a little bit of light coming through the crack. So you haven't closed it off completely. And the message is it's time to open the door and be heard. Let go of the resistance. Let gentleness and flow come to you. And that will reveal your greatest works of art and creativity. And this could be for an artist, it could be for a poet, a writer, a musician, an actor, a dancer, maybe somebody that curates and creates some kind of learning content. Surrender to that potential of this opportunity to keep creating. I get that you're very profoundly creative. And when others encounter you, you change them. When they experience you, you change them for life. The Ace of Wands, again, is this creative piece. So I feel like what has happened in the past is that you get sudden bursts of creativity, a spark of passion, and inspiration. And then it kind of dies down on the door, just a crack. And then it opens up and comes. So that's why the consistency and flow piece and the quality of breath and not worrying so much about the timeline you're on can bring you back to a more consistent creative flow for yourself. I get the Emperor in here, and Emperor energy. It doesn't always, represent a masculine or this is like Emperor-like energy, which means that, you have focus, you have action, you're a leader, and in how you choose to kind of live your life. You're meant to show others how to do the impossible is what I get. Keep following your heart. And I get that you're very heart-centered. And that's not how most people function, especially in the corporate world. There's appreciation, there is reward, but fully heart-centered leadership is more rare. And heart openness. I get to that, an emperor and a leader is typically very noticeable and visible. And you're leading in an area that's not as visible. And people kind of need to experience you, and then you become very visible to them. And that High Priestess card that I pulled out represents that. And when you're heart-centered and you have heavy intuition and you're using that to guide your decisions, that is more rare. And people aren't always comfortable making decisions that might not be favorable to everybody sitting at the table, is what I get. Yeah. You're a leader with the heart, which isn't as visible as a leader, let's say, with a position and a business suit or a title. If this resonates with you and you would like clarity or more information, click the link in the bio at www.nevaearose.ca. Lots of love.